see here. Sweetie, why are there people in the fridge? Again?
We agreed, no questions.
Okay. 'Tis Thanksgiving, and once again, we endeavor to make adventurer food from the real world that, of course, no one but me will eat. We start with the holy grail of adventurer food, or survival food in this case, pemmican. A mixture of wild game, bison in this case, sometimes called American buffalo, but not actually a buffalo. But they also used venison, fish, whatever they can get their hands on. Dried, smoked, usually mixed with chokeberries, Saskatoon berries, some herbs, sometimes salt. For 1,000 years, Native Americans made this to survive on. But when the colonists came in the 1400s, well, they needed something to survive on too, especially during the Great Expansion west, when you had the Hudson Bay Company coming in for fur trapping. So they found this from the Native Americans. There was a particular group called the Métis that would trade with them. The Métis were a mixture of, literally, the Métis means mixture. They were a lot of French colonists and others mixed with some of the Native Americans. They were their own tribe. They were bilingual. They could communicate with the explorers. They would trade them this. Slice the meat as thin as possible, probably thinner than that. Lay it on a rack like this, and in your oven at its lowest possible temperature. You're gonna dry it out. Dry it out until it literally breaks apart. Okay, and now you're in the oven. Hi, yeah, you might be noticing I'm wearing a different shirt. That's because it's the next day, because that took 10 hours. This is what it looks like. It is dry as heck, although it maybe could have even gone a little longer, maybe? Now we need to grind this into a powder. Now you can try and use a mortar and pestle if you're feeling masochistic, but I'm not, so I'm just gonna use a food processor. Now, the natives would add all kinds of things to this mixed berries, nuts, herbs. Most common was chokeberries, also known as aronia or Saskatoon berries, whatever those are. That tastes like dirt. Just a quarter cup or so. Off we go. All right, that looks powdery enough. That was much louder and more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I don't know how they did this by hand. So now we need to mix in some kind of fat. Now, traditionally, you would use suet. That's the fat around the kidneys of the animal. I couldn't find any suet, which is weird because the bison, which I thought I'd probably have to order online, I found at my local Kroger. So instead, we're just going to use lard. And let me tell you, oh boy, does that stuff stink. You don't want to put more in than you absolutely need. Just needs to come together. All right, so put it into some kind of vessel, and you just need to let it cool completely. And here it is. A couple of hours of cooling. From a distance, it looks kind of like cookies and cream. There's an interesting tang and a tartness there. Yeah, interesting. The berries actually have some flavor there, which is bizarre because on their own, they don't taste like anything but dirt. They actually make that somewhat palatable. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're not in a position where you need to eat some survival food. Enjoy.